All right, so everybody please sit down. No, I'm just kidding. So I'm super nervous. My name is Troy Caylak. Even though I'm an actor and screenwriter in Hollywood for 32 years, I still get nervous because I'm more interested in blockchain 7 days a week, with hardly any sleep for the last 5 years, because the story is very good. So I'm into story, and Bitcoin in this case is a great story that is hard to leave. So layers are attached to stories. So the previous panel, I could go down the line and say why they are clear-cut and ironic in how they approach stuff. So that's what I pay attention to. So I don't care what it is. If the story is good, you don't leave a good story. So anyway, let's dig into this. Though I study my lines, I'm not going to study these. I just want to use my notes here. So we have Raph. Raph, you weren't supposed to be on this one, so I'm going to riff my questions with you because I think you're great anyway. So,
awesome.
And then we got Bruff Star from OrdinalsBot and Pepelangelo. I think they've already been introduced. And Violetta, one song, one Bitcoin. You know the deal. Bruff Star, let's talk about tech, right? And how you're trying to, how you help onboard people that are not tech savvy, but are artists that are interested in the story of putting their stuff on blockchain. Oh, let me get my reader. I'm 150 years old, so I have to wear readers. All right, let's go. So with Bitcoin's limited block size and high fees, what tech solutions have you used to help artists successfully inscribe?
Yes, it's a very great question, Troy.
Well, you're a very, very, very good guy to guys. Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Bitcoin 100K, let's fucking go. But yeah, I've been working since February last year on this stuff. Since these guys launched it in January, we launched OrdinalsBot in February. And since then, I've had all sorts of different artists and creatives coming to me with different files, sizes and types, wanting to inscribe them on Bitcoin. So I've seen quite a lot of different challenges, and there's been artists who have came with 65 megabyte scans of their artwork, and then you have to figure out how do you get that down. On an image level, there's amazing compression tools you can use. tinypng.com is probably the easiest one, and you'll find that you can get 98% file savings without losing literally any quality. Pixel to pixel looks exactly the same. So I'd recommend anybody who's going to inscribe something as an image, I would always put it through a lossless compression first. Optimization, actually. And then when you look at other things where it's maybe a bit more complex, let's say someone comes to me with a video file, for example, there's different ways you can do that. One artist we worked with last year basically chopped up the frames and then basically inscribed the frames individually, then brought them all back together using a concept called recursion. And recursion is basically when you can pull in and compose different inscriptions on top of each other inside one inscription. So that's been pretty cool. Yeah, there's just loads of different kind of techniques you can use.
Raph, do you ever help artists out with? I mean, it's not maybe your job role, you're building on the protocol, but have you ever had any instances where you were helping?
Yeah, I mean, I love helping artists out because me, as the kind of protocol dev, I always kind of work on the low level. I'm very in my little sphere.
Yeah.
But it's so important for me and generally the ecosystem that I kind of reach out and kind of see how people are actually using the software we built. So I've helped a couple of artists. I've also used kind of this stitching technique.
Yeah.
I think one of the first artists I helped was Ryan Koopman. I think he's here as well.
Oh.
Together with
cool.
Ordinally,
Oh, nice.
He has these very nice kind of buildings that have been kind of what do you say? Old buildings.
Okay.
And then he overlays animation on top of them, and then they're also very big images. So we kind of stitch them together, have an animation component to it that kind of changes according to the block height. For example, the sun goes down at a specific block height and then rises again.
Yeah.
And then so when I was doing that, it was very kind of interesting to actually use it. And there was a lot of things I improved kind of in the Ord wallets to kind of enable that kind of stuff. Make it easier to inscribe and test. We added kind of this ordenv command that makes it able to test out stuff locally.
Okay.
So how you would do it is you have this reg test node that you spin up. Reg test is like a little test environment, and then people can play around with it before inscribing it on chain. Because as soon as you put it on chain, it's immutable. You can never change it. So it's always very good to kind of test extensively before you do stuff. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. No.
Yeah. So that's very important that I kind of every now and then help artists out and do my own inscribing, because then I can actually see the pain points that people have and try to fix it.
Okay. Thank you for that, Violetta. How did you get into Bitcoin? And I know that you have renounced, traditional music platforms. Like, who helped you out? Why are you interested in it? And why do you keep thriving? Again, one song, one Bitcoin. I can't hear you. Can you sing? Just
Hello. Yes.
Sing all your answers, please.
Here we go. Yeah, so I wouldn't be into Bitcoin if it wasn't for my mom. So I really want to shout her out because she is just the most open-minded, forward-thinking 60-year-old Italian woman I've ever met. So she told me about the blockchain 3 years ago because she saw that I was very frustrated with how the traditional music industry was working and payout models and just the gatekeeping all around, similarly to kind of the movie industry in many ways, right? And so I have renounced the traditional platforms for the past 3 years. I mean, I found a lot of support, especially in the Ordinals community ever since I got interested into it, which was early last year. I found people are very eager to expand Bitcoin and bring culture to Bitcoin, including the core team, right? Raph and Aaron and Casey, they're very supportive of the artists building on Bitcoin. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know, I just believe in artist decentralization, and when I realized that I could put my music on Bitcoin, I thought there's nothing more decentralized than that. I want to get away from Spotify. Yesterday, the Spotify Wrapped marketing stunt came out, and Bitcoin hit 100K, so that's kind of why I think we keep thriving.
Yeah, yeah. Another golf clap for that. Yeah, definitely. Pepelangelo, how are you?
Do you want me to paint you?
Yes. I was going to ask her if she could paint me live here instead of waiting for it after, but you.
People asking me the same questions everywhere, so.
But I'm super impressed. I thought you were a man, but that's just the name. But here you are.
Okay,
and,
you can find me there.
I
You see on the balcony.
I can find you
Don't
here.
tell people I want
right
to have
now.
my painting before there's a line.
How did you hear about Bitcoin and why are you there? Same kind of answers? Like, I want to hear your stuff. Like, everybody's story is different.
I started painting Pepe like in 2016, and I received first custom orders in 2017. And to my surprise, a lot of people were asking me to pay in some Bitcoin. I had no idea what it is, and I was sure that it's some kind of scam, but I decided, okay, I can try it. And I tried and I tried and I tried, and now I have all my money in Bitcoin, and I'm paying to my assistant in Bitcoin. And the very important thing is that Bitcoin and crypto helped me to escape Russia several years ago, and it was the only way to take your money from the country. No jokes.
Fucking love that. See that's a turnkey system, which I always go back to. Like, it's like the story of like Bitcoin is a turnkey thing. Anything great has two things underneath that thing that magnetically pull it together. It's unjudgeable, and that's a great little term.
Usually when people asking why you're into crypto, why you're into Bitcoin, it's about, I want to fight the government, I want to change money system, but for me it's the only option how I can live right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm living in different countries, and it's so hard to open a bank account with Russian passport, for example, now. And for many Russians, for many Ukrainians, and for many other people who had to leave their countries, it's the only way to live, to have everything in crypto.
All right, so let's get to your art. I appreciate that one. I wanted you to know that I heard that. I'm going to move on, though, about your art. So many people argue that meme-based art, which I own 2 projects on Ordinals. One is a sub 8K anime collection. It's the first one. And I have a very historical project that no one else will ever get to do in history. It's the only Ordinal collection that's mined on the halving block. And it was a free mint. And I love that kind of story. We paid a lot of money just to have that credibility. Who cares? Just do it, right? So I'm into story. So back to that. Like much of your work, people thinks that like some memes in art kind of subjugate and it could lack the depth and the skill traditionally associated with high art. And I know you're selling on a high level. That said, how would you respond to the idea that memes can't be considered real art? Because you've heard that. I don't believe that. I'm a meme artist. Or that they shouldn't command the high values we see in the NFT space. Does that make sense?
So I'm mostly famous for paper paintings.
Yeah.
And it wasn't my business idea. It wasn't my life goal to become a paper artist. For me, it was accidentally. So for me, it was like training in painting. So I decided to make a copy of some old-style classical portrait, but I was a beginner painter, so I decided to put paper face instead of human's face, because human's head is so complicated, it's a complicated shape. And because we see a lot of humans and their faces every day, when you make a little mistake in anatomy, it is super obvious to our brain. So I decided, okay, I love paper memes, so I should put paper face. And Pepe is a very simple cartoon frog, so it's a very simple shape. And for me, it was like a training to imagine that 2D character, a flat character, could have some volume, some shade, some lights, and so on. And accidentally, it was sold. And then I received a lot of custom orders. It was in February 2017. And from these times, I have no single month without custom orders, without a line from custom orders. So it wasn't my choice, and it wasn't my idea. It's real people, and they enjoy paper. They enjoy paper art. They enjoy memes. So when I see like some art critics, like, oh, maybe memes are not art, maybe it's not so valuable, maybe it's not so fresh. They can talk whatever they want, but the real truth that Pepe is a very important character now, because I have orders from people of different ages. I have orders from people who I want to give it as a present to my grandson. I have orders from Estonia. I have orders from Australia. I have orders almost from all countries.
None from Turkey at all?
It's
None from Turkey?
Wives who given it as a present to their husbands. It's grandparents who give it as a present to their grandchildren. Sometimes it's offices. Sometimes, it's regular people. It's not a movement. It's not collectors or investors or something. It's very simple. It is popular among normal, regular people, but of different ages and different cultures.
Yeah, so what you say there to me, yeah, please, fucking stand the fuck up. Stand the fuck, no. Dude, to me, life is about transcending, judgment. And so, that thing, whether some people think it's not high art or whatever, it doesn't matter. It has transcended, and your story tells that to me. And that's, so that said, though, do you think that some are overplayed and overplayed or lacks unoriginality? I mean, there are some bad Pepe art, but there are some artists, I've worked with Rare Skrilla 3 or 4 years ago.
Let's start from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Why do we have art?
Say it again?
Why do we have art? What is art? Art is kind of reflection of our human experience, right? Do you know the concept of archetypes?
Yes.
Like all characters, myths, all plots from all over the world, it's kind of the same.
Yeah.
For example, we have Greek gods and their myths and their stories. And if you know this, of course you know this, there are a lot of paintings about Zeus, about different ancient gods. Then we have another religious paintings. But to be honest, all of them are on the same plot. It's kind of the same scene. So is it overhyped? No, it's not.
It's not.
It's because it's a reflection of society, of their beliefs, and of their lives. And life of people several hundred years ago and thousands years ago, it was very dramatic. Yes, you're born, you die, you're making love, you making children. You have some wars, of course, and maybe that's all. Now it's not so interesting. In our modern world, it's a little bit more boring, but at the same time, we have access to different kind of news, different events, and our brain is overhyped, and we are kind of tired of this. And when I started painting Pepe portraits of people, I understood why Pepe is so important for us and why he is so popular. Because Pepe, he's very sincere, and he's feeling his feels. We know Feels Good Man, we know Sad Frog, and I think that when people see Pepe paintings, like Pepe's in historical costumes, doing some strange stuff, for them it's funny not because, haha, it's frog in the head, doing weird stuff, because, oh my God, it's me in the weird head, doing strange stuff.
Bro,
it's like my real life.
Bro,
What's going on?
I love Sasha Chudo's, like, original.
Yeah,
like,
I know her. He's in Georgia now, too.
She like made it her own. Anyway, God, I can't talk to you all day, okay? I cannot
Please
do
do,
that.
it's fine.
I love that this has turned into a Pepe panel.
Yeah. Bruffstar. So, okay, that said, how have you simplified the process for non-technical artists to inscribe their work on Bitcoin? And what challenges do you still see? And is there an easier onboarding thing where they will be inspired to like do it on their own? Like, thanks, Bruffstar. You have made this a turnkey system where it's like picking number 6 on the McDonald's menu because it's a turnkey system. It's like you get this because you press that button. Like, is there something like that?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of why we launched OrdinalsBot in the first place. It was a drag and drop system, you know. You just drag and drop the files and then we inscribe it for you. So we've been trying to do that since day one. But on an art level, when artists come to us, like my number one priority is like not to limit their creativity. Like we don't want to, let's say, you just can't do that.
Yeah,
We want
that
them
would
to
suck.
just be as expressive as you want to be. And one artist we worked with in the past, he was like really digging that Bitcoin's different and he can't just YOLO 40 megabyte files to a pointer somewhere. And he called it blockchain as a canvas. You know, you can use the limitations and you can like dial up the glitchy effect if you want to like really over-optimize your images, then you can lean into it and actually make it stylistically over-optimized and things like that. So yeah, number one, don't ever like, hinder the creativity and then just try and help them as much as you can. So with compression and all sorts of different techniques, it's been really fun and challenging to see what we've been able to do over the last year. And honestly, there's so many amazing inscriptions that have been online.
So, Raph, based on that, you're ideating all day. Like you think, like I'm a content brain guy. I'm always thinking, like everything to me, I just want to create. I've been creating since I was 5 years old, whatever the case is, doesn't matter. The case with you is that, are you constantly thinking of things to keep padding and accentuate and like whatever you think you can build? Has there ever been a problem that you've thought about that you just couldn't do or can't do yet or believe that you will be able to do?
I mean, Bitcoin is very limited and difficult to develop on, especially kind of the requirements for kind of, backwards compatibility. Like anything you do has to be like stand the test of time because you cannot change it. I mean, we talked about this before.
Can I interrupt you? So this is why I'm an authority on Shakespeare. I studied Shakespeare, and there's a constraint there. But in that constraint, it forces you, like in Bitcoin does, to make it more turnkey. So is that what you're talking about? Like you're playing within those playgrounds?
I think limitations is what makes art. So like you need, like if you have like, if everything's possible, there's no border that like art can like work against. There's nothing that limits. Like I think when you have kind of limits on things, that makes you creative. Like working within those limits kind of makes art. And on Bitcoin is very limited to kind of, you have to really think about what can I inscribe. Like you can't upload, tens of megabytes of videos to Bitcoin. And as soon as you kind of hit that limit, you become creative. You find different compression methods. Maybe you kind of boil the thing you want to create down into like its essence. Like instead of putting like the whole video or the big file, you try to like make it as small as possible so you get kind of the essence of what you're trying to convey. And like because it is so limited, you kind of get and are forced to do it.
Yeah,
and I think that creates better art.
And then Bruffstar has to catch up to like be able to like adopt that to his platform.
I've been playing catch up with Raph since
You're like,
February.
Raph, what are you
like,
doing? Raph, what are you doing? It's a Wednesday. God damn it, you know.
It's been amazing though. Like I think they mentioned previously, like when Casey launched it last year, it was not finished. You know, the guys just like said YOLO, let's put it on mainnet, and it absolutely exploded. So they were basically spending the rest of the year like finishing off the protocol at a really good level, and then we've been using the protocol since those days. And you know, there's a new version of Ord every 2 weeks, and like we had to obviously update our infrastructure. But I think it's in a really, really stable place now, which is super cool. And all the tooling, all the marketplaces, all the wallets, we've been non-stop building basically for the last year and a half. And now it's prime time. I think now it's ready for the retail boom and people to really come in and adopt it.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're everywhere, dude. And I have a Scottish best friend, and so like hearing your voice makes me think of him. So you do not look like him, by the way. Violetta, let's talk about music. Excuse me, I'm a little funny sometimes. I get paid to be funny. So
you getting paid for this?
not this. I did this out of prosperity, like, you know, and to show good nature, you know, because I love being here. So the thing is, let's talk about music patronage. Since that's never really been a thing since the 1800s, basically, is it coming back in the digital age or what?
I think so. I mean, with
In what way?
decentralization, like whenever you get closer to full decentralization, I mean, anything can come back, anything can exist. And the thing about music
Good
is
one,
that
yeah.
it's heavily monopolized and heavily inflationary, right? With all the streaming platforms, we don't get to decide how much we're worth as music artists at all. We don't get to decide, we don't get to know who it is that appreciates what we do. And so once you're able to create decentralized digital assets that you own and that a person can finally own, because even when you buy music on iTunes, you don't really own it. You're just unlocking it. If iTunes goes down, your music goes down. Whereas on Bitcoin, that won't happen. And so I think that is unlocking. I mean, I've experienced it firsthand in the past 3 years, recently on Bitcoin as well, where people just want to collect music and own it for real, and that has never been a thing. I think the last time that was possible was with classical composers back 200 years ago, really. So
Okay, so this brings me to so I'm a big, the one physical asset I still buy a lot are records. I've done everything in life. And I make music and I buy records constantly. I don't care what the genre is. There's a lot to discover, and you're not going to discover every one of them. And I don't care if you can listen to it on Spotify. I just want that fucking piece of
different,
whatever.
isn't it?
Yeah, of course. And I have a sick sound system. So the thing is, not everybody can buy a song for a Bitcoin, and that person is glad to have it. But I'm just curious, like, do you see it proliferating? I mean, it's obviously different. It's not physical. You're not getting a vinyl record. And by the way, of note, in America, there's only 6 record plants still in America, and they do shoddy work. So that said, thank God for digital. But like, do you think that the collectability will be as avid? It'll be,
yeah, I think so, because when you compare it to visual art, right, or sculptures or any other installation, I mean, so we just saw a banana sell for 6.2 million. You know what I mean?
That was a good banana.
Not everyone can buy a banana for that much money, right? But everyone can buy a banana.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like,
It's
a weird thing. So with music, I see it the same way. I was very happy to see that sale because
Yeah.
that's the classic right click save. Yeah, I can buy your vinyl, I can listen on Spotify, but I can't own it digitally. And in this era that we're living in, where we're all digital nomads, I know a lot of people with big vinyl collections that are selling them off because they're now traveling the world, right? So now you can finally own music again, truly own it, because it's on chain and it's yours forever. So I think there's space for it, just like there is with paintings and whatever other kind of art. Yeah.
Do a lot of these people know that you actually fly to your private holders to do shows, like anywhere in the world?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if everybody knows, but
Yes, I do.
like that's fucking dangerous and scary, and you're edgy as fuck. Rock and
I'm a
roll.
rock star.
Yeah, good for you, man. That was the point.
No, thank you. I mean, it's the best. Like that kind of. I mean, we have someone in the audience who last year brought me on a cruise in the Bahamas because they have the right to do so because they hold enough of my NFTs, and I went with him and his family to perform for them for a week, right? So that is, if that's not patronage for music, I don't know what is, you know?
Yeah. Back to you. Привет.
Привет.
До свидания. Now I'll say that at the end. So do you, with your art, with your Pepe art, do you try to manage cultural sensitivities, but also just pushing edge at all? Is there like a fine line between that? I mean, the way I wrote it down here, I'll read it the way I wrote it down. So it's like, memes often push boundaries and are sometimes accused of being insensitive or exploitative of cultural symbols, right? So, as an artist, how do you navigate the fine line between pushing boundaries and, for the sake of humor, but respecting cultural sensitivities? Or is that like, no? Or is that something you feel when you're doing it and you just know it, or do you define it?
I strongly believe that artist is not the main person if we're talking about art. So, as I told, most of my paintings are someone's custom orders. So I'm just a service. And I think it's a very good position. I mean, sometimes when we're talking about modern art, about painting, about some modern sculptures, oh, what do you feel as an artist doing this? What do you want to express? And like artist is the main character of all of this. But I think that the truth is that we are serving the viewer. So the people who ordering it, they are the main characters, and they are deciding what they want and what will bring some pleasure to them. And I think it's very natural way of how it should be. And I don't think that artistic work is pushing the boundaries. Pushing boundaries for what purpose? We're just creating something nice and joyful for people, and people love it and enjoying it, and their lives become better, and what else should we do?
When you say the people that buy your art are the ones that provide agency, are you saying like that the ownership provides them kind of a way to like make themselves? Like, is it their art?
Not all my orders are like family portraits, but with paper faces. Sometimes it's classical scenes. And I think for our brain, for our mind, putting memes into classical art is like to make it more real. Because when you're collecting papers, on your computer, you just have a folder like memes, funny memes, nice papers. But when you put memes in oil on canvas on your wall, you can give it to your grandchildren. You can touch it. You can see it every day when you're waking up. I know a lot of people have papers in their bedrooms, or they probably showing it to guests. So for a lot of people, to put it in such materials is like legalizing their real interests. It's not stupid JPEGs anymore. It's my life, it's a collectible piece, it's something cool and real.
Well, listen, I got the red light from Aaron, but I'm going to sneak this one in. What is next? Say it in 10 seconds, 30 seconds for all of you. Just like something. And if you can't say it, don't say it. I don't really, I'm just...
I mean, yeah, closing remarks. Like I said this in my first panel, like for me when it really clicked with Bitcoin was when I was able to own it. Like when I had this visceral feeling of like, oh, this is a thing I can almost hold in my hand, like it's something I can hold, and it's like, it's the same feeling you get when you hold a stack of cash. It's like this lizard brain thing, like, oh, this is mine, I can do whatever I want with it. And Ordinals kind of gives you the same thing. Like, not only is it like a picture that's in your folder, no, but it's something that you can like provably own, and you can also transfer ownership. Like you can give it to your grandkids or whatever. So I think like, yeah, this ownership provides like agency, and I love that you not only now can hold Bitcoin, but you can now hold art, and you can give it to people and share it. Kind of, yeah, that's, I think, overarching kind of what I kind of...
Dude, I'm telling you, layers are attracted to the turnkey infrastructure underneath. I'm telling you, I know what the fuck I'm talking about. You're just saying it. You're saying the same thing. What's next for you, man?
Yeah, I think 2025 is going to be absolutely massive for Ordinals and Runes. I think that, as I say, we've been building for the last year and a half, and 2025 is going to bring in loads of IP artists. I think the people are truly going to understand the value proposition of what a Bitcoin digital asset is. It's on-chain, it's immutable. As soon as people get that concept, I think there's going to be a massive wave coming in of amazing artists and collectors.
Thank you, man. For you, I mean,
I want to remind that I'm painting you today for free, the whole event. I will be
I'm
there
first
on
in
the
line.
balcony.
shit. That's so amazing.
I think there
that's
would
amazing.
be a line.
That's amazing.
So please manage it between yourselves. But if you don't want to stand in a line, and if you are in Miami till the 10th of December, there are going 2 auctions. So you can try to get a place, and we will settle the time, and the size of the portrait will be bigger.
Where are the auctions happening?
Scarcity.
And
There is a link there on the wall.
thank you for that. And Violetta's going to sing 200 personal songs for everybody here. It's going to be crazy. No, Violetta, I'm sorry, please.
Maybe not 200 today, but I am playing a show in New York City. If anyone is there, yes. December 22nd, just before the holidays. If you're in town, please stay tuned. And I think 2025 may be the year where we finally see a lot more music on the blockchain. It's absolutely happening, not just in Web3. I feel like it's happening more from Web2. Like, people are starting to realize and waking up and being like, oh my God, like, this actually sucks. What's the solution? So they're going to come, like, very slowly and then all at once. So I did tell you so. So remember this moment.
Yeah, and listen, I just wanted to say, like, for myself, I'm always producing movies and animation for a lot of projects, and I'm always just, I don't care what the idea is, I just do anything that clears my desk. And I just wanted you to know me if you didn't know me, and I only work with, like, lethal weapons. So anybody you see me working with, they're fucking lethal weapons, and I consider you guys lethal weapons too. All right, take care. Thank you.
Thank you.